I had an available position. I was interviewing hundreds and hundreds of applicants, and I found CV from Luis, and I could tell from the first moment that I would like to work so much with him. He's such a wonderful researcher. One day, I told them that I had a fantastic offer from St. Michael's Hospital, and I think I want to accept the position. I need to move to Toronto as an ecosystem that really favors research, and also to start working in a hospital setting.
It was more like a family move to a new home where everyone had to pack their own stuff and settle everything and get everything running in the new house. We might have still some boxes unpacked, I think.
In my spare time, I love cooking. I cook a lot of Egyptian food.
In my spare time, I like to take care of my plants. If I had to describe Hagar in one word...
Be careful.
I would say inspiring, because it's truly amazing how she balances out the care that she puts for us in the lab and the care that she puts for her family as well.
If I would describe him with one word, I would say he is sincere. I'm usually driven by inequities in healthcare access. So pregnant women, although they are the source of life, they are a medically underserved population. 3 out of 4 pregnant women take medications during pregnancy that we don't know whether they're going to be safe for the baby or not. And 10% of those pregnant women take medications that we know that they are going to harm their baby, but there is no other option.
So with the technology that we have, we are able to test the drugs and say if they could be safe or not during the pregnancy.
We will be able to give millions of mothers and their babies a chance of healthy life that was once impossible. This is Emily. So Emily and her husband have been trying for so many years to have a baby. Finally, Emily is pregnant, and her heart is already bursting with love. But last night, in addition to feeling her baby girl, she felt a lump in her breast.
As her doctor, Emily came to see me at the clinic. We ran some tests, and the results came with devastating news. She has breast cancer. Unfortunately, the tumor is aggressive, and delaying the treatment will put her life at risk. But the cancer treatment will be too harmful for the baby. So I have to tell Emily that she needs to terminate her pregnancy to get the treatment, because her life is on the line. Can you imagine having to make that decision?
And unfortunately, Emily is not alone, because not surprisingly, pregnant women do get sick, just like the rest of us. So every year, more than 200 million women get pregnant. At least 70% of those women will need one medication, if not more.
In fact, there are so many diseases and conditions that can turn a joyful pregnancy into unfortunate complications. Things like cancer, but also hypertension, infections, mental conditions, multiple sclerosis, just to name a few. Of course, the treatment for these cannot wait for 9 months. But the problem is, 9 out of 10 medications are not safe to take during pregnancy. This is either because we know they are harmful for the baby, or we just don't know if they would be safe because the research hasn't been done yet. Bottom line, not treating pregnant women who need healthcare is not an option. We must develop safer ways to treat moms without putting their babies at risk.
And our solution is targeted drug delivery. This is a novel technology that would allow us to deliver the drug exactly where it needs to be in the body and nowhere else. So think about it this way. Current medications are like junk mail. They go to every house. So this means in Emily's case, the chemotherapy will not only go to the cancer, but will go to everywhere in the body, including her baby girl. This is the case for all medications for all diseases. While our approach is like putting an address on the package so that it goes exactly to the right house, which again, in Emily's case, this means that the chemotherapy will only go to the cancer and will not impact her baby girl at all. So how do we do that? Just like FedEx or UPS. So simply, we wrap the medication in tiny, tiny wrappers. We call them nanoparticles. And then we add a chemical tag. This chemical tag would deliver the nanoparticles to where they should be in the body. Using this technology, we will be able to wrap medication safely and deliver them exactly where they need to go.
And you should know that we are not starting from scratch. The drugs and the nanoparticles, the wrappers that we're using, have already been approved to treat non-pregnant patients. Also, the nanoparticles are made from natural fatty molecules, meaning that themselves, they are not toxic. All of these will speed up the regulatory approval and their implementation in clinical settings. And we want you to be part of this. With your support, we will develop more of these formulations of wrappers, the nanoparticles, that will target specific sites of the body for specific diseases. We will test them in the lab to find the most effective, and we will patent this technology. Moving forward, we will go to the first clinical trial and starting up a company to bring this platform into the market.
Yes, so it's time to prioritize women's health. It's time to make sure that no pregnant woman have to make this devastating decision between their health and the health of their baby. It's time to save 2 lives at once and help so many pregnant women, just like Emily, to hold their babies in their arms.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm very excited about this. Just a quick personal story. I moved houses recently and dug out a picture of my mother in the 60s, and she had a Scotch glass and a cigarette in her hand. And that, which was fine, but then you look down and realize she was pregnant with me, right? So, and I've spent the next 50 years, my sister's in the audience too, about wondering why we're just slightly off. This is very exciting in that you can isolate, whatever it is that you're ingesting in your body from the actual kid. You made a comment about the wrapper already being in use for non-pregnant situations. What can you walk us through how that's working? Because that'll give us some insight maybe as to what this wrapper does deliver for the product.
Yeah, sure. So currently, there are about 35 approved drugs in the market that are using similar wrappers for various applications, including infectious diseases, some cancer drugs, and also some other congenital or genetic diseases. Do you know how many of them are intended for pregnant patients? None. So the pieces are there. The pieces and similar drugs have been approved. They just haven't been developed for this population that is underserved.
Okay.
So that's what we are using. We're using those building blocks that we know they are safe, and we are taking drugs that are also approved in the market, putting the things together to bring up better solutions for treatments.
Okay, got it.
But does that mean then, just to understand what the pipeline looks like for next steps, if the nanoparticles or the wrapper have been approved in an average population, then it needs to be separately tested and get approved for pregnant populations specifically? And then is that even different for every disease with a different tag, so to speak? If one's going to breast, one's going to stomach, do those all have separate regulatory processes?
It does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just want to say that we are developing a platform technology, and this is a big strength.
Of course.
So we are developing a system that can work for different diseases and different organs by doing a little bit of optimization. So that's great. Mm-hmm. But this doesn't mean that we don't need to do the fine-tuning for that. And also in terms of regulatory pathways, I think it's much, much easier right now because there is one single clinical trial that fortunately pregnant women were allowed to be included during the COVID and the pandemic, and that really will be the basis that we will use those components, and we'll be able to really get through the regulatory pathway much faster than in the past.
The clinical trial piece is the part that interests me because, of course, this is a very vulnerable population, not typically included in trials. I don't want to say acetaminophen, but is that a real complexity? I understand that's really the opportunity, of course, but is that the biggest complexity you face?
I don't think it's a complexity right now because, like, I mean, according to the results from the clinical trials, those systems that we are using, they were completely safe. And I want to mention something that we've just mentioned, that those lipids that we are using to form the wrappers, these are lipids that are, or fatty molecules that are already present in our body. So they are 100% safe, which means that we have really almost no risk.
Adding to that, something that we're also able to do in our lab is to test those wrappers and those particles that we make in a novel platform that has been endorsed by the FDA as even better tool for screening drugs before the clinical trials, better than animal models. So we have that technology in the lab, and that's why we can speed up the drug development process. We're not making up new drugs, that's number one. Yeah. Number two, we are able to test them as we go. So with these two strengths, we can speed up the time that it would take to get to the patients.
I mean, nothing's going to spell success like success, right, in terms of getting the speed going. Do you have an area that you're planning on focusing on first that makes the most sense with this technology?
Right. I mean, we have, like, we're definitely working on the platform technology itself, but we have, like, several priorities right now. One of them is breast cancer that we've just presented. Another one is preeclampsia, which is quite a frequent
So are those priorities based on how big the problem is, the order of problem, or is it what the technology would be easiest to solve?
Both, because, like, I mean, I think we are very confident that with the technologies that we have in the lab, the nanotechnologies and the chip technology that Luis had just mentioned, that we're able to move therapies forward. But, like, all the clinical challenges that we are talking about right now, they don't have any therapy. Zero therapy, which means that every day we wait, we lose more women, and we also lose a lot of lives before they even start. Yeah.
Thank you. It's exciting to hear about preeclampsia because that's so relevant in this target population, and as you said, not much that you can do right now. So it's great.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, great presentation.
Thank you.